identity theft starts to be widely reported, and I am upset, disappointed. There was no personal interest. I just spent my time doing the right thing. So yeah, there are some calls, I scale up the issue. They tell me that they will try to mitigate the effect. Not sure why or how. But they cannot change the core of the system just for 1 month, which is reasonable at least. I am done with this. So let's move on, let's go back to the Netherlands. The world is a very nasty place. Anyways, 15th of May of 2023, I got a relevant conversation. In May, the regional government, not the town, but the region, announces their own set of vouchers. So the initiative was very popular in my hometown, so they wanted to scale it to the region. Instead of free money, they give you a discount. So it was like if you spend 50 euros, or yeah, you will pay instead 30. It was something like that. So I don't remember the exact details, but they require your ID card during the payment. That's more sensitive now. If I go and I say I'm Martin, and I want to make a purchase with partially subsidized by public money, at least I have to identify myself. Identity theft is more challenging. You need to actually forge your ID, or the person behind the desk has to not care, but well. The form of registration looks exactly the same on the front end. So I'm quite confident that this has been implemented by the same company. Which company? I still don't know. This time I had extra information to identify them. It was nothing really a black hat or anything. It was just that they had a way to report security issues, security things, and then if you go into the source code of the reporting platform, suddenly there was like a link that disclosed me the company. I contact the company directly, not using the form. The same day, the CEO replies on LinkedIn and tells me, this is my number, call me in the afternoon. He was very nice, so I want to thank him if he's seen the record of this talk, because it was very clarifying. The conversation was like an hour, and by topics. They claim that regarding the ID-only verification, after some days an extra layer of verification was included, which also cross-checked the date of birth. It's not that this is super private, but at least you also needed the date of birth. Allegedly, there was a confirmation SMS, but you could use the same phone. So, yeah, it was, not that effective, I guess. SMS is spoofable. Date of birth can be public. The complexity of the attack grows, and the trade-off was sufficient for them. They did not want to introduce chaos, downtime. This was a system that was already live, and it was going to die in a month, so I can understand it. But there are better ways of, for example, the disposable SIM card is 10 euro, a voucher is 100. He told me something really weird, or I don't know if I understood wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is what he said. That he claimed that in Spain you need to identify yourself when you buy a disposable SIM card. I don't think that's true. He claimed that the system will only accept the Spanish numbers and reject other country codes. I'm not sure about that, but even there, I'm quite sure I can get a card with a Spanish number even from the Netherlands. Why not the digital certificate? I mean, there's a public infrastructure nowadays. There's many initiatives in the that you can authorize, you can authenticate with certificates. Even some countries, they even have it embedded on the ID card. But well, in Spain, it's still a bit complex. It's working better and better every day, but a lot of people will not have claimed their voucher. Think about the people who are not that tech savvy, or that they cannot even use a word properly. Not to be ashamed, but many people will not have claimed their voucher, and that was not the intention. Why don't we ask for the ID card? They claimed this was a requirement from the municipality, which is an odd requirement. They have also told me that this voucher thing was not new. The company also went to other municipalities where they implemented a similar system, and the ID was required, which makes sense. And what happens with stolen vouchers? So there were a lot of police reports that I cannot claim my voucher because it says it's already claimed. Sure. But most police reports were forfeited because it was like my nephew has stolen my voucher. I don't want to report my nephew for identity theft and fraud, which is quite serious. Or my son, or my brother has stolen this thing, whatever. For those who really lost their money, it was exceptionally refunded. And after all, these were the best news I could have received. My hometown is not the richest town in Spain, and this 100 euro were a blessing for many, many families, many people. This was the whole intention of what I was doing was I don't want people to just not be able to claim their voucher, whatever the intention of this voucher is. So these were the best news I could have received. I'm going to start with conclusions, but there's still a bit of slides there. The definition of public varies over time, so our system should. This is basically what we were talking in the beginning, that the ID, it used to be something that you needed your card for that. And yeah, I cannot know what is your ID number or your ID number, but nowadays there's so many information online that this is not private anymore. Personal identifiable information cleanups on public endpoints, it should be mandatory. You should get a fine for this, especially if you're a public servant. So I was just shocked of how much information could I have, like if you have a disability, if you have a criminal record, it was there. So yeah. Google Docs are powerful. So if you get the boolean of a file type PDF, or if you are an artist of, yeah, you can even check for Excel files, PDFs, whatever floats your boat. You can even scan a complete website just using Google. Lawfully defined responsibilities when delegations are in place. There were 3 main heads here, which was the municipality, the bank, and the third-party company. All of them blame each other. And when it comes to hanging medals, it's like, wow, we've done a great job. When there's something going wrong, yeah, well, we're not actually responsible for that part. So I think it should be written somewhere who owns what. The need for an intermediate party in vulnerability disclosure. As DIVD is called short for Dutch Institute for Vulnerability Disclosure, to avoid conflicts of interest. This was information that was juicy, especially when there's a electoral process in place, and it happens everywhere in the world. So an intermediate party that you can actually trust and rely, that is perhaps not even controlled by the government, or I don't know how to implement this exactly, but this should be compulsory on every country. And the DIVD is, you can Google for that. I think it's a good example of how to have an institution that you can just ethically disclose something that you don't trust the involved parties with. Enforce liability. No one received a punishment here. So please enforce liability, educate your public representatives. You don't have to be an expert in cybersecurity to know that what you've done is wrong. Was it really feasible still in 10 million euros? It was highly unlikely because, first of all, you require practically every ID number in the city, And also, the moment you want to spend it, if no one is able to claim their voucher, police is going to go after you. So, sorry for that clickbait. It was theoretically possible. What could be a feasible revenue, nonetheless? Because, okay, we're not going to get 10 million, but what can we get? Just with OSINT, you can already get hundreds of IDs on day one. Barely anyone has claimed their voucher, though. They were, I don't know, in their jobs, they were busy. This was during the morning. With dark OSINT, which is basically illegal sources of data leaks, there's more and more every day. This example of 2021's the phone house, it was a data breach where I could find my own information, like my address. So it was like thousands of records. You can use that just to claim hundreds of vouchers. Other sources of irregular information that can provide you with thousands of user data could be like a municipality employee. If they have access to the database, you can potentially just dump it and use that for bad stuff on day one. Let's get numbers on the table. We're engineers, we like numbers. So this is a manual process. There was no way of scripting that, at least that I know. So you have to go one by one. But, well, if you're going to revenue 100 valid IDs for 10,000 euro, it might be worth the effort. Dark OSINT, illegal sources will grow the number significantly. 1,000 entries is already 1 million euros, so 1,000 entries is quite feasible to do. Misusing big databases to gain this information can lead to millions in revenue. Assuming the process does not get blocked, assuming that at some point they say, we have a major issue here, so we have to stop. And if you have a reasonable OPSEC as a criminal, you might not even get caught if you do it from another country or whatever. Only the ones with the full access to the municipality will be able to get a complete takeover, but yeah, the initiative will be then blocked 100%. You don't need to show your ID to spend your voucher. You can send it as a regular file, as a screenshot. There was some people that were like, I'm not going to be there for 2 months, so if anyone wants my 100 euro, I can sell it for 85 euro, in cash or you bank transfer, whatever. You can decentralize fraudulent vouchers without exposing yourself to security cameras in a store or being forced to trade vouchers for good and then sell those goods. Instead, you can claim disposals in an untraceable way. You can, namely cash, crypto, whatever flows your boat. The real attack. These slides were not there the first time I made this presentation, but things have been updated. 4th of March of 2024, a 23 years old kid is arrested in my hometown. He is accused of fraud. He is accused of falsification of documents, allegedly stealing up to 126 vouchers for 12,000 euros. His modus operandi was like, he had like 8 friends, and he was getting the vouchers, sending to their friends, go to the same local store, buy AirPods and other electronics, but mostly AirPods. He will get the AirPods at his home, and the collaborators were paid with another stolen voucher. I had to say sick. Yeah, you understood correctly. The payment for the collaborators was just a stolen voucher. This person has not been judged, as far as I know, so that's everything I can tell. If this is true, well, I really don't like that you're stealing deliberately from citizens, but yeah, we have to wait until the justice does their work. And I think this is the end of the presentation, and we still have 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I did very well, actually. So, is there any question? No? Thank you very much.
Just one question. Who won the election?
This party.
Ah, okay, so it worked.
Well, it's a campaign with public money.
Yeah.
It's always very good.
Always best to use
And
somebody
that's it,
else's.
because
always
there's no
best to use
political-
somebody else's money.
Yeah, thank you.
Good politics. Okay, thank you, everybody, for your attention. Thank you, Martin.